All right, so we are going to look at this prompt. How does London create conflict in chapter 2 of The Call of the Wild? Well, if you have your constructed response on Wealthy Team, so look on your handout, Grayson. Yep, you see that big long paragraph you wrote? That's turn it over. Oh, yep, right there. That's your constructed response. I had that one already done. Is that part of what you don't have anymore? Okay, I've got an extra copy for you. Okay. Um, did you have Caitlin, did you have the text dependent questions somewhere? Like, are they in your, I know they, okay, you have it at home. Okay. So Grayson has his copy. Grayson, how did I start that one that we did? Okay, so what would I say here? Instead of throughout the article, because it's not an article, what would I say? Throughout what? Chapter 2 of what? Now, when you handwrite, oh man, I can't spell. Y'all tell me when I mess up. When you handwrite, what do you do with book titles? Because you can't italicize. Not quotation marks, say it, underline. Okay, so if you're handwriting this as you should be in your composition notebooks, you're going to underline. Very good, Caitlin. So we have throughout chapter 2 of The Call of the Wild, what can we take from our prompt for the next part? What are they asking us to analyze? How London what? Thank you. I'm just going to type London creates conflict. So the only part, all of this is in the prompt. The only part that's not in the prompt is this last part. So how does he create conflict? Who's having conflict, first of all? Do you remember back in chapter 2? So chapter 2, he was sold to Francois and the Scotch half-breed. What did Francois do to Buck that he'd never experienced before? He what? What did he have to put on him to turn him into a sled dog? You're right. The harness. Very good. So that's the scene we focused on when we did chapter 2. And guys, I have videos on all of these except chapters 3 and 6. All you had to do was copy the video. Okay? So creates conflict through, oh, we don't want to use through again. In Buck and Francois. So now I'm being more specific about which two characters will be the focus of the paragraph. So if you have a colored pen or a highlighter, let's highlight this yellow. And then our next sentence is our Eve, where we elaborate. So Grayson just told us his elaboration. Francois puts this harness on Buck. What does Buck realize at that point? He is a what? Grayson just told us. Sled dog. Okay, so that is my E. Again, if you had color pens or highlighters, I'm going to put that in blue. Scroll it down a little bit. It might be helpful for you to write the prompt so that when you're at home you can remember what that looked like. So we've done our T and we've done our E. What do we need next? Details. Very good, Caitlin. Okay. It is okay if it helps you to start your details with for example. If that kind of helps you transition, it's okay. Oops. So this is my first detail. I'm going to highlight that in, I don't know, I'll do this light gray. It still shows up well. Now we didn't put it in the TEDA, but you really need kind of a little bit of an explanation, a transition sentence. And drought means a work animal. Now, what kind of life had Buck led before he was sold? What? He was proud of himself because what types of things did he do on that farm in California? Yeah. He got to run around, he could play with the grandchildren, he got to help with the animals, he could go inside at night. He was comfortable. Okay. So one detail can be a quote, but my second detail is a summary. And I'm going to highlight that gray also. So it's okay to summarize part of the scene also as a detail. Just make sure you provide enough details. Like I didn't just say he led an easy life. I told where the farm was, and that he had to learn to live in the cold. So So just make sure you provide enough description. I'll give you a minute to get this part written down, and then we'll come up with an analysis. So the last thing we have to do is bring it back to that topic sentence, but we want to use the exact same sentence. So let's just think about how we can reword that. We need to use the word conflict somewhere in that last sentence, so the readers know we're still on topic. I need to mention Buck and Francois again. So somebody give me a sentence. It doesn't have to be pretty or perfect because we can change it as we go. What would you write for the last sentence? Somebody give me a first word. I would use a preposition. I probably wouldn't use throughout. What's another preposition we could use instead of throughout? Two-letter word. Starts with an I. In. In what chapter? In chapter 2. Okay, now we have to have something about conflict. Who's experiencing the conflict? Buck. I did it the first time too. Thank you, Caitlin. Okay, what verb do we want to use with Buck? Buck what? What? Suffers conflict? You like that? What conflict does he have? You know, when you talk about conflict, you have like man versus self, man versus nature. What kind of examples did we give here? Ooh, sorry. The cursor thing did not like that. Well, it's man versus what? Well, you have Francois, he's a man. What is Buck? Let's be a little more specific and say man versus dog. I'm going to say the conflict. So what does Buck realize during this conflict? Who's going to win? In this case, man will win. Exactly, Caitlin. Okay. So I'm going to highlight here in yellow because it goes back to our topic sentence. So for us, this took us about 15 minutes to develop. I find that students typically take 20 to 30 minutes to create a constructive response. When you're first starting out, it's about 30 minutes. But as we practice them more and more, you'll get it down to 20 minutes. So it does take some time. It's not something you can get done in 5 minutes and, submit. So tomorrow your task is going to be, I'll open up the prompt that you will receive a grade for. Okay? You have the opportunity tomorrow to draft. Use this example one to help you. Use the wealthy teen one to help you. Okay? You can draft it. If you go ahead and get it drafted and submit the draft to Canvas, then I will provide feedback for you. Okay? So again, this is a sample that we did together that you need to write in your notebooks.